Good afternoon, everybody. The Session 6 Marathon continues in this Tuesday afternoon. Nathaniel here for a B1 matchup and hopefully another matchup later on in B3. And Tuesday is going to be a very busy day. We've got tons of matches, and unfortunately, I don't think we have the ability to cover all of them. But there are, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different tables playing matches this evening. We'll start with a couple of the afternoon ones, and you'll have to check out the website to catch the remainder of those. Keep track of the scores. Of course, you can always visit AmericanRicci.org to keep track of all of the games that happen. Well, this is an interesting one. We've got John, Jeff, Vikram, and Dave battling it out here. Of course, this has been a very tense division in B1. Lots of volatility. And John, in the 6th place overall, just barely out of a guaranteed promotion slot with 2 games to play here, it looks like, finishing out this series. Will be Jeff, our first dealer, John to the right, Dave across the way, and Vikram on the left. John, of course, shooting up in the rankings after winning a Tenho, of all things. The Yakuman Tenho climbing up in the standings. Jeff as well has been doing quite decently this season. A lot of second places, though, double-digit seconds. And hoping for some more firsts in these final 2 games. Vikram and Dave duking it out in the demotion zone, both of them with a chance to escape tonight. But it'll be a tense situation as they wait to see how the rest of the games pan out throughout this division. Well, our dealer, Jeff, starts out with a pretty awesome high pie chance at Ricci Pinfu, and even a shift into Sanchoku 567 is available if you draw well. An interesting move here, discarding the 9-pin, foregoing the extra efficiency of pairing up, say, a 6 or 7 mon or 5 or 6 pin for Ricci Nomi. Jeff here, Evil Taxi, committed to the Pinfu route. John on the right, great shapes, Ishanten. The only awkward one is that So shape, which unfortunately will likely be the final weight should he draw into Tenpai. Dave across the table completes one more shape and is also Ishanten here, headless, with a tuned Anko in hand. On the left, Vikram has... Okay, this is Ishanten, but not Pinfu yet, and so is looking for an upgrade here. As expected, John does find that Tenpai on the 4-so, but declines the Ricci here because there are some upgrades available. Imagine a 2-so draw, giving you a chance at 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku and Pinfu at the same time. Oh, but now you can Suji Trap the 6. And John will take that. Ricci with the 3-so, waiting on 6-so here for Ricci Dora 1. In the meantime, Jeff, our dealer, has drawn another Hatsu. Still Ishanten here. Oh, and now a Dora draw. Does not look good. Especially after that late 2-mon. We'll see if Jeff chooses to push this, or perhaps another door is drawn and he can drop away the 9-pin pair instead and fight for Pinfu door 2. But there's the Tsumo, no Suji Trap required. Ricci, Tsumo, Dora 1, and no Ura, but good start for John. We'll shift to John's dealership here. 7-7 on the Dora. And this hand can technically accept 2 of them, but generally the 6, 8, 8, 9 shape is not the strongest. It does, of course, improve when you draw 1 of the Dora, so now you only need 1 more here. And there's a good pin shape here, a good float in the Sozu. So we'll see if we can draw the second 7-mon. There is one in Dave's hand, and that's just chilling by itself. Needs a connector for now, but I'm sure Dave will attempt to build a hand that can incorporate it in some way. Vikram across the way with Tanyao potentially. There's also Itsu chance in the Pinzu. Now Ipeiko even. If you can fill in the Kanchan shapes, you can even get Pinfu with this, but we'll have to wait and see. If he wants to play for speed, we'll probably just call for Tanyao. And then Jeff on the left with So Itsu available and a door acceptance. But a lot of Penchon shapes, very awkward. You're not expecting to complete those very quickly. So it might be a slower hand here. John has finished discarding these honor tiles and is floating around some of these, floating tiles. The 5-so, of course, still in hand. 8-so adds a 7 so Diamondra, the 2 mon as well. And this pin shape keeps shifting. Not sure if it's going to turn out to be Peiko or what the final shape for that will be. Ishanten on the right for Dave could end up on Dora Tonki even. Still needs a connector around that 7 mon. Of course, if you draw 1 pin or 4 pin, then you have a Tonki Tenpai and would most likely choose the Dora Tonki there. Vikram does end up opening the hand for Tanya, Ishanten now, with a Dora, and this is going to be Tenpai on the 6 mon and 7 mon. Of course, only 1 Dora left in the wall, but 2 6 mon available, so 3 tile weight for Vikram. And Dave seems to be pretty committed to this Dora, and that's especially prudent when somebody is opened. The 6 mon does not fit into the hand whatsoever, and so it will come out for Tanya Dora 1. Only 2,000 points, but it does make your task a little bit harder in the future. Wasn't much that Jeff could do in that situation, though. Oh my goodness. East is Dora, and dealer starts out with a pair. And the other Easts are all in the wall, so if Dave somehow finds an Anko, or even someone discards the Dora, trying to get it out of the hand early, Dave will snatch it up with an instant Mangan. And chance for even more. To the right, Vikram with callable tiles if you feel like discarding 9 pin, 9 pin. This looks like it could just be Richi Pinfu. Ipeiko even after the 6 mon draw. Looking quite good. Ishanten already. Across the way, Jeff starts out with an Anko of the Hatsu. And Ishanten here too. Wow, that's incredible. Potential Shabo weight on a dragon tile and the 3 mon. Not even holding these floaters. Wants to hold out maybe for the chance at Dai Sangen. If you draw a dragon, is there any world where you could just cut 3 mon, or the So block and go Honitsu for Shosangen, or even Dai Sangen? That would be quite aggressive, but you don't get very many chances at a Yakuman, so you might see it happen. Now here's a chance now. Do we greed for Honitsu? I think the answer is going to be no. And the 9 mon is just discarded. On the left, we do have Pinfu chance here. John is hedging the Itsu, but it's probably not going to come together because your other blocks are quite good. So Tanyao or Tanyao Pinfu is likely for that hand. We make our way back to the dealer, and here's our first East draw. Vikram decides not to hold it, and that's going to be Instapoln Dianchanten now for Dave, and the rest of the table alerted to the 12,000 points that Dave is representing open on the board. John discards the ideal tile for Dave to chi into Kutsuki Ishanten. Now just needs to draw around the 3 pin or the 5 mon. Kutsuki Ishanten, of course, went away from Tenpai with sticky floating tiles. And this 5 mon certainly has a bunch of connectors that will be quite strong draws. 4 mon and 6 mon in particular. And John discarded that 5, so really pushing for this Itsu. But now you have to be very careful in playing around this hand. In fact, plays the Genputsu 9 mon. This is Tenpai for Dave now on the 6 mon. And they're all being held. They are all being held now that Jeff has drawn the 6 mon here. Jeff could be Tenpai now with a 9 mon, but those are all gone. So the only way Jeff gets there is by drawing another 6 or drawing something around the 6 itself, the 7, 8, or 4, 5. At least a Tenpai that doesn't deal in, and unfortunately, this one will.
Boom.
Ton Dora 3, 12,000 points for Dave. A perfect result for Dave because he is desperate for a first place here. Currently in pretty strong position to take it home, but we are only in East 3, a lot of game yet to play. Alright, Dora is the 8 mon. Dave has a connector in the 9 mon. Of course, when you have a 6 mon, 9 mon shape, the overlapping tile acceptance generally dictates that you drop the 9 mon, but Dave is starting with some of these guest wins, the south and the west, that won't do much in hand. We see an early call, the Shah, Jeff across the way, aiming for west and potentially West Dora 1 here, but not going to be a lot of value to that hand. Just trying to end this dealership and get some momentum moving into the later hands. To the right, Vikram has Good pin shape, potentially Peiko there. Holding the door connecting floater, 9 mon. And now might shift it away for the 6. But all around good shapes for Vikram. Good floating tiles as well. And on the left, John has a lot of dragons. And we see a bunch of winds discarded, but not many dragons. So perhaps hoping for some Shosongen business. Dave moving to a Tanyao now. Still can accept the Dora because we have an extra 6 mon here. Oh, speaking of Dora draws, Jeff does pick one up, so it will be West Dora 1, 2 away from Tenpai. Missing a pair in that hand, but that's okay. Any of these singletons can easily be the pair. Not the 6, 7, 8, but any of the other ones can. I think Jeff will hold on to the 7 mon because it does accept a second Dora should he draw one. And Vikram's hand has shaped up nicely. Look at that gorgeous Samenchan in the Monzu. Can accept 1 mon, 4 mon, 7 mon. And this hand is not lacking a pair. We have a couple pair candidates. Namely the 3 pin, I guess. But once you draw this 4, I guess you can discard the 1 pin and take that 4, 6, 8 Diancon shape. Say, sort of give up on Pinfu if you draw the 5. But if you draw the 7, you can discard the 2 pin and say, I have Pinfu using the 3 pin as my pair. So I think that's a really good move by Vikram here. John does get the pawn of the Chun. Gave up on the Shosongen though. Ishanten now 4. Chun, Hatsu, and it looks like that's it. Will be extra fu though. 6 pin is interesting. You cut the 8 pin and have a chance at Ipeko again. There's just a world where you end up Furiten because we've already discarded the 1 pin here. So we'll see if Vikram comes to regret this. There still is a 4 pin in the wall. Oh, Dora draw. That's awkward, especially with open hands. You might cut the 2 mon here and just say I'm never dropping Dora, but that really limits your hand to the 7 mon are already discarded. And we can see that Jeff is holding on to the other 2 here. Dave might end up with Tanyao Chitoy of all things. This hand has not progressed in a standard way. There's a Dora draw! So this is going to be West Dora 2 now for Jeff. This is certainly more value than he was anticipating. Waiting on the 6, 9 mon. There is only 1 9 mon left in the wall, but no one can really use it. And after a second call, John now in Tenpai waiting 3, 6 mon. The 6 mon discard would be double room, but third Dora draw. Now we're on Bongon. 5, 8, 7, and 7 is drawn. Oh my goodness, Jeff just draws all of the Dora and gets a Mongon out of what was West only. Incredible comeback hand. And now Jeff has a chance to take over 3rd place moving into East 4. I want to point out that that hand, when the West was called, had 0 Dora. And eventually, Jeff picked up one of the Dora, held the floating 7 mon. A lot of players would just discard it, saying, I've got a completed 6, 7, 8 shape already. But held the connecting tile, assuming that if another Dora is drawn, I have a way to make use of it. And another Dora was drawn, and then a 3rd, and that became Mongon. All right, Vikram now, our dealer. Hatsu's Dora, we see 2 across the way in John's hand, already opened on the north, so very clearly Atozuke for something. It turns out the hand is actually Honitsu, and the players will start to figure that out as we see 6-so, 7-so, 4 pin, 7 pin, 7 pin. Now it's really starting to look like a Mon Honitsu here. But even though it doesn't necessarily have to have the Hatsudora, a lot of times you will just commit to a Honitsu when you have the Dora. You want to make use of it in a way that doesn't rely on calling the 3rd one. And so players will certainly be suspicious that John is building in that way. And a critical player here is then Jeff. Will Jeff discard Mon tiles? Because that looks like the suit that John needs. And we already saw an 8 Mon come out, so Jeff is leaning towards aggression, saying, I don't believe you are ready yet. But John is getting there. East pair up now, and now he has a couple different ways of getting value. Doesn't even need to be Honitsu anymore. Of course, we saw an open on the left from Dave, and this will be a draw into Tenpai. We'll choose the Shabo 8 Mon 2 pin weight. 8 Mon once cut, 2 pin once held. There's a chance the 2 Mon does leave Jeff's hand, though, even in the current perilous state. Just have to see if it does end up coming out. The players will have difficulty using it, although as I said before, John doesn't need to be Honitsu anymore. So if he draws around this 3-pin, say redrawing the 4-pin, that would be an excellent weight on the 2-5-pin. Oh, here's the 2-pin to be Furiten if you take this Tenpai. And for that reason, throws it back out and will deal into Tanyao only 1,000 points. Shuts down a monster from John. All right, it is Jeff's turn. South 1. There is East pair up in hand and Adora. Ooh, Chanta chance as well. I am really happy if I am Jeff with this hand. This is a real chance at value. The question is, will we call the East if it comes out? Because that does, limit your value a little bit, but it guarantees a Yaku at least. And here we'll find the answer. It is called. Jeff trying to at least confirm East Adora 1. Potential Chanta as well would be 2,900 or 5,800 if you get the Chanta. Certainly worth it for Jeff to fight for that hand. And also notably here, holding the Chun, it's important that he finds a pair that is a terminal tile or an honor here. So holding something like the 3-mon, although it's generally a good floater, not so good in this instance. We don't need another sequence here. We have all of our blocks. We just need a pair. And the second question, well, is this going to be a con? Holding the East, in fact, so planning to con, and perhaps if we see it draw into Tenpai, we will see the con. But if the 9 still leaves the hand, I think you just have to chi for Tenpai. Oh, Dora draw, what do you do here? I think you just con. Yeah, you just con, and then we don't need to go for Chanta anymore because we have 2 Dora. So take Eddie call into Tenpai here. The question is, if you chi 6-so or 9-so, what will be your cut? Because if you, it'll probably be the 8-mon in that instance. Take the Shabo weight on the 7 and 9-mon. We haven't really looked at the other hands, but there is another Chanta brewing across the way for Dave. Has the West in hand and potentially Chanta on top of that. This is Tenpai, not Chanta on the 2-mon, but that weight can be shifted to another tile unless this leaves Vikram's hand, and it certainly feels like it's close to doing so. Manages to hold on for now, and still 2 of the 2-mon left in the wall. John's turning this hand into Chi Toy somehow. Oh, this hand's kind of making progress. The new door is the 5-so, I should add, and John has 2 of them in hand. There's the Chi into Tenpai, waiting on the Shabo. 7-mon, 9-mon, but those are all being held by Dave, who can increase the weight here to 6-mon, 9-mon, at least from his perspective. Doesn't realize that he's actually making the way worse. Only 1 left in the wall, but finds it! The last 6-mon, incredibly, 3 and 40 for the extra fu of the Anko in hand and the Sumo Tanki weight. And so Dave picking up another massive win here, looking good to escape the demotion zone right now. We're heading to South 2, and all the players are below 30,000 now, except for Dave. John has an okay high pie. In fact, I would put this in the above average category. It is missing Dora, though. And the 4-pin is a great draw. Not only does it give you another block, but it gives you a Dora connector. So I'm very optimistic if I'm in John's seat. However, Dave also building very quickly here, 2 away from Tenpai with potential Itsu in the Pinzu. And now that Mon shape improves dramatically. Could even be Peiko there. Across the way, it is Vikram who... these shapes are okay. You have 3 Yamen shapes and 1 Kanchan to fill. And, of course, 5-pin could be accepted not once, but even twice into this hand. Jeff on the left is simply Ishanten with potential Richi Tanyao if the 4-pin is drawn. Oh, that's a tempting keep. In fact, I think I like holding the 2-mon there over the 1-so because I want to make 2-3-4 Sanchoku here if I draw the 3-mon. As it is, though, Dave does draw in call into Tenpai. Otozuke, the tiles 4-pin and 7-pin are lighting up, but only the 4-pin will win here. Oh, the 4-pin gets paired up from John, and this is Tenpai, so not willing to take it. That's interesting. Oh, it's Furiten, that's why. And that means the 7-pin is likely to leave this hand a little bit later. So unlucky. Well, now we have Tenpai again, and we'll take this Richi Nomi. If Dave hadn't opened, it's likely that John might hold off on this Richi because there's a lot of good draws Of course,
Eat.
any diamond draw gives you a better shape, and also you can draw into Ipeco in the Manzu and also the Dora in the 5-pin. But it's Jeff who will chase this down with Ricci again, potentially Tanyao. Needs the 4-pin for Tanyao. And 1-pin comes out instead from John. That's a critical hit from 3rd place into 4th. It is just Ricci Nomi though, and so only a slight lead now for Jeff after picking up the Ricci sticks. In fact, it's only because of the Ricci sticks that Jeff has this 900-point lead. And so, that being said, we move into South 3. Dave, our dealer. Can Dave pick up a few thousand more points before conceding the dealership to Vikram in all last? There's a chance at doing so here with a Dora in hand. And just reasonably good shapes could just be Tanyao, but now Chun is paired up, and you're even thinking about the possibility of Honitsu given the number of Mon tiles. The fact that the South has been discarded from the South player and not followed by any of the players, so you think it might be in the wall. It was in the wall, but John drew it and so discards it, and now it's less likely that we end up in Honitsu, but still a chance for Dave. To the right, Vikram has 4 pairs and is 2 away from Tenpai for Ricci potential Pinfu. Across the way, we have Jeff with Adora. 789 Sanchoku possible. This is Ishan 10. Passes the cheat and... Or, sorry, that is somebody else. That is John passing a Poland, but it's a draw for Jeff into Tenpai, Ricci, Sanchoku, Dora 1. This is a Mongon on the 8 Mon, 3 being held. And unfortunately for John, he can see the 1 chance. The rest of the table also might be aware that it's 1 chance given the long wait on the 7, although they might think it was Jeff that was thinking about a chi here. John, for now, finding the safe 1-pin to cut. And Dave as well. Chun discarding. Discarding the Chun. A little safety for now, but John might just have to push this hand. These draws keep coming together really well. You don't have much safety here beyond the Ricci Suji 2-pin, which isn't really that safe to begin with. And now Tenpai drawn, and we will see a Ricci. It is... Well, which weight you're going to choose? Probably... Okay, 5 discard for 1, 4... No. 6... Oh, 6-9. Yeah, I don't blame John for pausing there on that decision. That was a tough shape to read. Yeah, 7 discards very bad. It's only a Shavo weight. So Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 1, potential Tanyao as well. And the 6-9 has, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 left in the wall versus the 1 in the wall for Jeff. But another 6-mon drawn by Dave here. Unlikely to leave the hand. 1-mon, 4-mon feels bad, so I don't think Dave can really push this, especially given the lead. Another 9-mon drawn, so it's actually 1 versus 1. 1 final 6-mon versus 1 8-mon. And 8 comes out! It's Suji to the Ricci. There wasn't much there for Dave, but that will deal into Mongon. And all of a sudden, there is a player over 30,000, and Dave has a tenuous lead. Mongon Sumo by Taxi will exchange places. All right, Vikram now, our dealer, all last to get over 30,000 into 2nd place, maybe even take 1st. Whereas if Vikram does win the hand, he will need to, play another round because we don't have the game does not end after a dealer win here or a dealer Tenpai and Ryukyoku. We have, let's see, Taxi on the right with 2 Dora and 4 or 5 pairs. Chito Ishanten. 5-pin might come out here and just set up a Suji trap. Across the way, John working with potentially Junchan. A little bit difficult to imagine that coming together with the 4 so 5 so in hand. But if he draws, okay, this 2-mon moves you in that direction, so still hedging everything with a 1-pin cut, but 1 more draw in towards Junchan, and I think we will see that 4 so 5 so leave the hand. Dave on the left, Tanyao potentially, Dora in hand. There's even a world where you get 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku, but you will need an alternate pair. Of course, the one 2-4 shape in the lower Sozu is not that great anyway. So you'd love to pick up one of those tiles as your pair. And okay, how about this as an alternate? Just draw 6 pin, use that as a pair, make a 5, 6, 7. We'll have to see how that develops. Oh, John making moves. That's a Dora draw. And now Sanchoku Ishan 10. If the 7 so is drawn, this would be Richi, Pinfu, Sanchoku, Dora 1 with Hanuman chance on Sumo. Or Uda. Dave, big Tanyao draw there. Ishan 10 technically. And very wide as well. But Jeff will draw into Tenpai. Will be the Suji 2 pin. No, that's twice cut. Doesn't want the hell weight there, so chooses the 4 so instead. Interesting weight choice here, but 1 left in the wall. And John has Tenpai on the 7 so. It is Sanshoku Dora 1. No Pinfu though, so this is only 5,200 points. With the Richi stick, depending on where it comes from, it wouldn't even be enough to change places.
Each.
And now chooses it's time to fight. So 7 so is the weight for that hand. Also one of those left in the wall. 1 versus 1. Sozu no longer look good. 6 so did come out, so Vikram might push the 3 so here. His hand is Ishan 10. But no, chooses the 3 mon back. Not willing to risk. Oh, another 3 so draw. Maybe thinking about Chito as a backup.
Each.
And Dave draws into Tenpai. Will even take the Richi here. Oh, this is scary. 2 monster hands, and this is a good hand of his own. Richi Dora 1 with potential Tanyao. 1 draw left. Will it be the 4 or the 7? It is not. We're going to Ryukyoku, and dealer is not Tenpai. And that means that all of the players will pick up 1,000 points, which is the exact total of the Richi stick that they handed out there. The Richi sticks will stay in the middle of the table, and the game will end. No positions will change other than Vikram losing the 3,000 points here. And so it is Dave picking up a plus 27.2 first place. Jeff, positive 6.0 second. Vikram, minus 8.3 third. And John, negative 24.9 fourth place here. We will update the standings. And John dips down a little bit, moving away from the potential promotion zone. That's not the direction to move. Pretty close to Jeff now, 8th and 10th place respectively. Dave climbs up, still in the demotion zone, but much, much closer to getting out. And with one more good game, can potentially escape. If Dave can get past Edwin in the standings at negative 79.1, I think Dave would be safe. Of course, Patrick has games yet to play, so Patrick could also climb or sink. And Dave will just have to wait and see when those games end up getting played. Okay, looks like their next game is about to start. In fact, it might have started already, so let's hop in as soon as we can. Put up the score screen while I load up the game. John will be the first dealer this time. And oftentimes after a negative result, I like to start as dealer. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of being the East player. But sometimes I just want to start fresh, get the momentum going as dealer.
Home.
And we do see the momentum shifting quickly to Jeff as there's an early tune call. This is Tenpai, in fact, waiting on the Tuso. However, Jeff will almost certainly pull in the south if it comes out and choose a Taki to wait on later. Currently, Chun Dora 1, though. Across the way, Dave is... actually was Tenpai there, but declined the weight on the 8-mon. Thought it's early enough that I can improve this weight and perhaps improve the value as well. And there certainly draws into improving the value. Potential Sanchoku to build into.
Sumo.
But there's going to be the Tuso Sumo for Jeff. 2,000 points. And will shift us into East 2. All right. This high pie is rough. Let's count the terminals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and now a pair. So it feels like it's going to be a chanta perhaps, but of course you can call the tune and start working towards something standard. And now you have a completed shape. Still not pushing for it. Jeff wants Kokushi, I think. This is the decision point, and yeah, it's Kokushi. All right, we'll see if Jeff can put it together. Dave has the ability to call the Hatsu. Multiple pairs in hand, 4 of them to be exact, 2 Dora. So I imagine Dave might even just go Otozuka and call everything, including this 4-mon. The 4-mon doesn't... It helps in the sense that you can discard a pair and you have a diamond instead, and also that it makes you look like you're doing Tanyao, which, if it is just Tanyao, you're certainly not using 9 pins. So that might lull the rest of the table into a sense of security.
Boom.
Oh, well, now the plan is made clear. It's actually Otozuke on something. Players just don't know what it is. And unfortunately for Dave, there is a Kokushi player at the table. So it seems somewhat unlikely that the Hatsu will leave that hand unless this Chun draw makes Jeff shift away from it. And there it goes. There's the South. So Jeff might try to play a standard hand here. Across the way, Dora drawn and pulled. We're going to have Tenpai for Dave. I guess the table doesn't know whether this is Otozuke on an honor or if this is Sanchoku Doko waiting on a 9-mon. If it is the Doko, John knows that that's not the case because he can see 3 of them. One was discarded early and he has the other pair in hand. But Taxi doesn't know that. Statistically, it's probably an honor, Otozuke. So the players have to be very worried, cautious about discarding one of those. It's quite dangerous. But we will see a Tenpai for Vikram here, waiting on the 4-pin, but can't switch to 6-pin. It's interesting because 6-pin is Genbutsu to the Mangan that's showing to the right. But at the same time, the players know that that can only win on a 9-mon or an honor tile. And wow, risky push from John. Just throws the Chun out there, but Dave wasn't the one who needed it, and instead it's going to be a Tsumo for Vikram. 1,000 points, shutting down the Mangan hand. All right, Dave now dealer with 2 Dora. 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku chance, 2 away from Tenpai. Quite good high pie.
Boom.
Pulling to the left, Jeff aiming to shut down this good start though with the East call. Dora in hand as well would be a 2,000 pickup. Pretty nice in this tight race. Let's see, to the right, Vikram has good Tanyao blocks, but the floaters are not amazing. Chi, the 6-so there, would help fix one of the difficult to complete shapes. However, it does open your hand to Tanyao only, really, and leaves you a little vulnerable here, so not surprising to see Vikram pass. I know some players would just call that and go with it. And John across the way has a Dora Itsu chance in the Pinzu, but we do see Tenpai on the left for Jeff here, waiting on the 6-mon. 6-mon actually in the wall, 3 of them in fact, and now 9-mon will also win. So anticipating a win here from Jeff with 7 tiles in the wall. However, Dave draws into Tenpai. It's not the Sanchoku, but it is Ricci Dora 2 as dealer. Certainly scary, but 9-mon is Suji to the Ricci player, and that will come out for saving Jeff from having to make a draw. Will be the 2,000 pickup plus the Ricci stick on top, and will shift us into East 4. This has been a very fast game. Hopefully that speed continues, because I want to catch some of the later matches as well. Vikram, oh my goodness, this high pie is insane. Double East and an Anko of Dora already. Amazing shapes on top of that. This is super strong for Vikram. The only weakness is that you might end up on a 1-2 penchant, and if the 3-pin leaves early, you have to make a decision whether to go Otozuka or not. Now you have an alternate path with this 6-8 pin, but we'll see if this 3-pin is called and is passed, Vikram doesn't want to
Each.
go Atsuzuka here, and instead it's John who takes the Richi, or super early Richi Pinfu Sanchoku chance, waiting on the 3-6 pin, where the 6 pin would be Takame maximum value. And we've got a 6-pin draw for Vikram, who has to fight with his hand. You don't fold your dealer Mongons. A 3-pin draw for Dave, but he has some reason to bail out here. There's just so little info. What do you do here? 9-mon, 9-mon is the play. Jeff also not very close to Tenpai here, not really any value to speak of, so we'll probably bail out as well. Another good draw for Vikram here, Ishanten now, but the depends on the draw whether Vikram deals in or not. If 6-pin is drawn, he's saved. If you pull in the east, you have a choice between the 5 and the 8. Oh, just makes the right play, created his own Nakasuji, and pushes the 5-pin. So playing very cautiously. 9-pin is not great, but it's probably better than the 5 so. And so it does pass. And if Vikram wins this hand, it's going to be an incredible Mawashi dance. Still, we haven't seen the east. It hasn't even been drawn yet by the other players. There's another 6-pin. So they've all been drawn. Only one 3-pin left in the wall for this wait. We are unlikely to see the Sanchoku win. And Vikram even moves away from the east, thinking it must be paired up by somebody else at this point. And now has Tanyao Ishanten, Tanyao Ipeko, in fact. We'll probably let this slide. Although you can pull and it gives you some more calling options. But it looks like Vikram doesn't want anything to do with the 7-mon. And might be backing away from this hand. 7-mon has become 1 chance though. Oh yeah, just giving it up. Too many, it's too late in the hand, and maybe there's too much of a risk to fight, but certainly a shame to miss out on dealer Mongon. The draws just were not coming his way. And instead, it looks like we're heading to Ryukyoku. That's safe tile for Dave. Vikram has a safe 3-mon, and unless his last draw is the 3-pin, well, forget Ryukyoku. How about Haitei Tsumo with Pinfu and no Ura? But okay, John manages to pull the last tile for that wait. It is the Haitei win, and will slide into 2nd place. The rest of the table doing a great job defending, but as we always say, just Tsumo can't defend against that. John now the dealer with the ability to accept the Dora. Perhaps you can work towards a 2-4 Sanchoku, but that is very far away. We'll just be playing standard efficiency here, trying to build something out of what looks like not very much. Tanyo at best. To the right, Jeff has some very pretty looking shape here for Tanya, potential Pinfu and Dora. Across the way, West Onko already in Dave's hand. Looks to be 3 away. No, 2 away. Khan! That makes things a little bit clearer here. That is 2 away now. It's very interesting when you have consecutive Dora indicators, 4-mon and 5-mon. And it looks like that's going to convince Dave to move into potentially Honitsu here. This is just Ishanten, but if he pairs up a Mon tile, would be able to make that Mon Honitsu shift, which looks really scary when the 5-mon and the 6-mon are both Dora. Of course, the hand on the left has a lot of pairs, but not much value. And yeah, just taking the Tenpai here, but again, it looks kind of like a Honitsu or a Chanta from the other player's perspective. I guess with the 9-mon cut, less so Chanta. And also those early honor cuts and terminal cuts signals, probably not Chanta. But you think that hand is at least a little expensive. And of course, when you con a terminal or an honor like that, that adds 32 Fu, which is just like adding another Han. So from these players' perspective, it might as well be Mongon. We'll see if they choose to fight, though. 8-mon is twice in the wall. 5-mon has 3. And John, as dealer, might just be aggressive and does push the 8. Will be the 2 and 60 hand for 39. It ended up not being as scary as it looked. but that does put Dave in the positive now, over 30k, shifting into South 2. Okay, Dave's final dealership here, and this is his last chance to rack up a bunch of points at once, barring some miraculous hand in one of the final 2 dealerships. So we'll see how aggressively Dave pushes here. Dave doesn't really want to rely on Patrick falling in the standings, wants to own his own destiny here.
Chi.
Calling for Tanyao. Just saying, I need to win this hand at all costs. That is a bit of an aggressive call. It's certainly understandable. And there's a Sanchoku chance as well. But I could also have seen a pass. Would have been completely acceptable, I think, in this situation. The draws are coming in very nicely for Dave. Which Kanchan do you want to keep? Maybe cut the 8 pin and keep your Sanchoku chance open. No, gives up the 7, so 5 so is still good floater. You can draw the 4 and call it an improvement. Oh wow, what a Tenpai on the left for Jeff here. Chitoi of all things in that hand. Will not take the Ricci on the 6 pin.
Chi.
Chi from Dave saying, this gives me more calling options. It's not a call you have to take, though. You also lose the 4-mon because it was called this way. So I'm not sure it actually improved in this instance because the 5 pin and 5 are once cut. Oh, look at this super sneaky wait from Jeff. 6-mon Ricci waiting on 9-mon, and it's once cut as well, so Shabo is even less likely. Dave doesn't really have a choice here but to fight with the open nature of this hand and the fact that there's so little info. I'm a little surprised we didn't see a Chi of that 6-mon actually into Tenpai. The 5-mon was safe, but now the 6-mon are all gone, so Dave really needs a 3-mon for Tenpai here. 9-mon twice in the wall, though, and it's very likely that these players will discard it, except for John. John will draw into Tenpai on a 6-9-mon draw, and might just choose to fight. The Dorohatsu has been cut. Almost unfortunately for the Chitoi hand. You'd love to have Chitoi Dora too. Oh, there's the 9-mon. Vikram, though, has played very good defense throughout the series and doesn't discard it yet. But if he runs out of safety, it might just have to come out. 8 so is that one chance? I thought there might be a copy, but it's just one chance. Vikram. Oh, no, it's Genputsu. I missed the darkened tile after the Ricci. Yeah, Vikram's still playing perfect defense here. And John has to consider, at what point do I call for Tenpai? Well, passed and now has Tenpai if he dares push this 4-mon.
Each.
And he does. Takes the Ricci, 6-9 weight. And that also makes it a little harder for Vikram to push this 9-mon. So we'll see who the wall favors here. Dave is out. Vikram, 8-mon just passed, so that's safe. And the 9 so should still be fairly safe here. 3 also looks like it came out. Oh, but there's the Tsumo! Another high-tate Sumo for John. How does he keep doing this? And this time hits the Ura for the full Longan, and John all of a sudden takes over first place. It took 2 high-tate Sumos to get there, but here we are, John with 37,000 points, the only player above 30,000. So if the game were to end with this scoreline, John would be picking up the full 20 points of Uma, plus 7,000 points, so plus 27 there. However, the game's not anywhere close to being over just yet. It is only South 3. Vikram now dealer, and this is Vikram's last chance to make up some ground here. Desperately needs points. Really, this is sort of the last stand sort of situation where you almost have to fight with everything. We'll see if there's something to fight with here. It looks like it would just be a Ricci Dora 1 currently, unless you can draw some Kanchan fills. You might be able to get Pinfu on top of it. And if things get really bad, Vikram might need to bail out into a Tanyao to start opening. We'll have to see how the draws come together. To the right, that hand's progressing very nicely. Ishanten already, and the 5 so draw would be an ideal fill. Now there's Ipeco chance, just dropping away from that Kanchan.
1
Oh, but Tenpai for Jeff, what a monster! This is an Entotsu wait for Richi Tanyao, waiting 2 pin, 2 so, 5 so. 2 so has already come out, so that won't be part of the winning hand. So it's almost like a Shabo with some extra tiles. You've got all of the 5 so available, and all the 2 pin available from Jeff's perspective. And we can see that there's only 3 5 so left in the wall for this wait. And this puts Vikram in a really tough situation because you can't afford to let Jeff win this hand. But it's such an early Ricci that you have no info. And Dave also in a bit of desperation as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong dealer. Thanks everybody in chat for pointing that out. I got a little ahead of myself here. Oh, let's just stick on this dealer turn. I don't want to miss a win if it happens, but okay, this is where Dave needs to put a last stand then. And with the Dora and Tanya, this is Ishanten. But when will the 5 so come out? And will John push this hand even? Still Ishanten for that. Vikram now switching shapes. Ishanten here. This does lose the Dora, but it's been thrice
Yeet.
cut, so that's really not a concern here. And John will fight and get the Ipatsu wrong. Jeff drawing the wrong tile on Ipatsu turn. It'll be an Ura as well for John. This climb has been insane, and we can leave the dealership right here as it is now Vikram's turn. That's actually really important because that drops Jeff into pretty deep last here. But still, the goal for Vikram and Dave both is to finish positive in this game, and both players are below 30,000, so they need to win something here. Vikram, though, with a good start, opens up with the Chun. Can even shift to Honitsu for value, and we'll see if that's the play. You do lose the pin acceptance, of course, but if the proper spawn tiles come in, you might just make that move. And yeah, I think Vikram's moving that direction. 6 pin cut. To the right, there's a door in hand and lots of pin pairs. That might be a Chinitsu for John. Oh, I think it's going to be at this point. It could be Suwanko Chinitsu at this point. It's also Chito Ishanten. Chi though. Chi to move into Ishanten. Does need another 7 pin though. And Vikram has another 7 pin that will come out. Will come out right now and get Chi to get into Tenpai Chinitsu. Waiting 4 pin, 5 pin. And Vikram cannot use any more Pinzu, but that's an excellent Mandraw. And this is Ishanten for Vikram's Honitsu. And there's Tenpai. Oh, this is going to be a super weight. What is the cut here? 5 feels very natural here. Chooses the 9 for a 258 weight. And there's the 5 mon. Pick the right one. And John, it's Chinitsu versus Honitsu. The Honitsu ends up winning out, and that is massive for Vikram. Gave up on the Itsu, but gets rewarded with the win. And that might have been more important in this instance. That weight must have been incredibly wide, though, for the 5 mon cut as well. For Vikram, we've got another chance to continue as dealer, as we have the pair of East in hand. There's also door acceptance with his 2 mon. And there's a world even where you could shift this into a Chanta, perhaps. That's a bit far away, so we'll just hold that in the back of our heads for now. 2 Dora on the right for John, even after giving up 5,800, still in very good position in first place. Wants to knock Vikram back below 30,000 though, if at all possible. There's an Itsu chance in that hand to accompany the 2 Dora, so if he draws more central pin tiles, might even think about opening for 3 Han. To the across the table, Jeff has very standard shapes. Unfortunately, they're bad ones. Penchon 8-9 so, Penchon 1-2 pin. 3 so is nice because it can move you in the direction of Tanya and also Ipeco. On the left Dave has Tanyao chance here. Trying to find a Sanchoku. It's not really there. It would have to be like a 2-3-4. Well, there's a 4-mon, so now there's a legitimate chance for it. I like the 9-mon cut here. I want to draw 3, so and not even take the Tenpai if I'm going for maximum value. Of course, it's really hard to pass up Riichi Tanya when you can sumo and find Uda for Mongon. So we'll have to see how Dave plays that. Finally, the East comes out though, and it is Dian Shanten for Vikram here. Itsu coming into play for John, Ishanten for that, but we're going to see a Chi here. And now Vikram Ishanten with lots of pawn options available. Likely the 7-pin will end up being the pair in this hand, and that's really rough for John, who desperately needs a 7-pin. Tenpai, though, for Vikram on the 7-pin and 8-mon. 8-mon being held, locked into hand, in fact. Dave does not want to push this Dora. It looks so scary on this board. But what are you going to do? You have to drop a pair then, so it's probably going to be, it looks like 2-pin, 3-pin, 3-pin cut. And that's just the worst draw for Dave. You can't afford to deal a Dora into the dealer here. But no, draws the 2-mon connector and is just going to take the Riichi. Says it's okay if I deal into East only, but not East Dora. Waiting 3-6 and a 3 and a 6 being held in John's hand. Oh, it would be tragic to deal an on the Patsu turn. Does manage to dodge it for now. And 6-mon drawn by... Oh, this has to come out. And it's going to be Riichi Dora 1. Check of Ura. Misses. But that does move Dave over 30,000 into the positives. Taking what points he can. Moving into the final round. And it's going to be a tense... Well, that was the final round. Well, it's over. Dave claims a positive finish. And Vikram moves below 30,000. We'll take a negative here. Boy, I had the wrong dealer for a while. I forgot that was all last. That's okay. John, the big winner here, plus 25.2. Doesn't get the full plus 20 UMA. And Dave, that's a big result. It wasn't maximum value, but it at least is a small positive. Gives you makes it as likely as possible that you will avoid the demotion zone. We will update the standings and take a look at where we stand after all 24 games have been completed. Vikram with small negative here. We'll find it difficult to avoid demotion here, but it is possible. It would require Patrick falling below and also Brian falling below, as Jonathan's a little bit too far. So very specific results necessary to avoid demotion, but that's not to say that it is impossible. Standing's very slow here in updating. Might be waiting a while for that, but we can compute it by hand. Taxi Jeff finding negative 25.8. Not the result he was looking for, but very importantly, will still be positive. So in the off chance that all of a sudden there's a huge number of extra promotion slots, it might end up dipping down his way. However, I don't think B1 will get that many. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3. But see, Jeff would be around where Michael is now, maybe in 12th, or Rachel, perhaps. So, oh no, we'll be down by Michael. So around 13th place. I'm not sure the promotions will extend down that far. But, you know, lots of the players have games to go. We'll see how the standings change over the course of not just the week, but this evening. I know there's a ton of games being played. It turns out there are no more B1 games, but I see a couple of A2 tables, even a couple of A1 tables scheduled, in addition to 2B3 matchups. We hit the end of the Riichi Nomi tournament, and all the players traveled back to their respective states and scheduled all their matches for the following couple of days. So that's why we have so many games this evening, whereas we won't be covering many of them, but at least as many as we can. We'll probably get one more series in before I have to start traveling. Looks like, yeah, for you, Eric, if you could just stay there, you'll probably be good. It's just a little awkward that you've got Ada with games in hand and I also close behind. Okay, we are awaiting the start of the next series, and it looks like it just came in. Kevin, Jen, Cesar, William will be duking it out in a B3 series. We'll try to catch one or two of those games, and it will be 4 minutes away. So while we wait for that, I will go ahead and send us to a break and switch around the name, switch around the info on the screen. When we come back, we'll have that B3 matchup for you. All right, we are back. B3, Table 2. First game of the series between, of course, PML Pro Jen, uh, well known streamer and recent, coming back from recent tournament successes. We've got William, Cesar, of course, longtime player, has been playing since the Beta League, and Kevin as well, who's joined a little bit more recently. Jen currently in the best placement here, 7th place overall, just outside of the guaranteed promotion. Of course, we do anticipate by the time we reach the Division B3, there will be several more bonus promotion slots, but you always want to take the guaranteed ones. You never know exactly what's going to happen. And even if there have been historically some extra promo slots, want to make sure that you get yours locked in. So Jen will be looking for some positive scores here. A lot of the players at the top of the division have at least started their series, if not completed it. But still, a lot of movement can take place up there. William at negative 88.4, Kevin at negative 105.9, and Cesar at negative 203.9, all looking to pick up some points here. Have a lot of ground to make up. With the extra promotion slots, however, your goal is at least to finish positive. And although it may be out of reach for Cesar at the moment, William has a decent chance of picking up, if things go very well, 88 points in 4 games. Kevin as well can pick up 105 points in 4 games. It does take a very strong series and probably a couple very good big first places, but it is theoretically doable, and so we'll at least watch one of these games, hopefully two, and see if either of those two players can get off to a great start. And it will be Kevin starting us off in the first, with the first dealership in the east seat. Jen to the right, across the table, Cesar, and on the left, William, who opens up early with the Chun call. Looks like it will just be Chun only. However, there is a shift to Honitsu, and I know a lot of players, when they see two honor pairs, especially if one of them is Yakuhai or even both of them, they will look at that and say, this is Honitsu, and William might also be moving in that direction. To that note, though, Kevin also with a couple Yakuhai pairs and lots of Mon tiles. So we could see dueling Honitsu here. In fact, I think we will, as there is a south call that is not a Yakuhai. So the table alerted to something a little bit funky going on in that hand. Oh, 5 so is Tenpai, but of course William wants more. Give me Honitsu. The other two hands, Jen is very standard, potentially Tanyao, but if you play for Tanyao, you have to give up the Dora, and that seems a little less likely. Across the way, Cesar building towards a Ricci, but it is William who does find the Tenpai first on the 2 so 3 so Shampong wait. 3 so fits into Cesar's hands here, so it won't come out just yet. But Kevin also making progress. Of course, if you're in William's position, you want to just take the win if it comes out, but you're also thinking about what draws will improve your shapes. What do you do if you draw a 4 so? What do you do if you draw a 7 so? What about a 6 so? Does that change anything? All of these things will be considerations for Kujira. Tenpai for Kevin after calling the Hatsu, waiting on 8 pin. Sorry, 8 mon. 2 of the winning tiles for William have been drawn by Cesar here. Might just be locked into what looks to be a Tanya, but that 8 mon does not fit, and that will leave the hand. It is indeed a nice start for Kevin. With the extra Fook, it's all the way up to 3 and 40 for 7,700. All of those terminal pawns adds up for a piece. And that's a great start. It looks like another Honitsu for Kevin with Janset, Shulsangen, and even Dora. Unfortunately for Kevin, the Dora is also being held by 2 other players. So Chun unlikely to be used in the final hand. But I think we have a good idea where this is progressing. To the right, pretty decent shapes for Jen, and now even an Ipeco draw here. 4 pairs, but I don't necessarily think we are really committing to cheat toys. We're just Ishantan here. Across the way, Cesar with Tanyao shapes. We'll need to draw 4 pin for Tanyao though. And then William on the left. These shapes are not good, and we've got a Dora and only 2 pairs, so even cheat toy is not a very strong consideration. This might be one of those hands where you don't give up the Dora early, because if someone calls it, you're just in a really rough position. You won't be able to outspeed that hand. And so you might just hold on to it forever and plan to Tonki on it in the future. Or if it comes out from somebody else, you can use that as an excuse to drop it, but you're likely not going to be able to complete this hand. However, that 9 so draw really does help a lot. And the floaters in the hand aren't so bad. 5 pin 5 mon. Kevin has paired up the 8 so, and that means a Honitsu isn't a necessity here. But there's still good chances for it. And here we'll see how he wants to play this. Just drops the Dora. It did come out from Cesar across the way. And that doesn't mean we're not doing Honitsu though. There are some draws that might move you that direction. Perhaps something like an... Well, actually a lot of the draws just give you Tenpai. I was going to say 3, but this is just Tenpai. Oh no, it does make the shift. Okay. Who wants a Shabo weight anyway when you have Honitsu? You just picked up 78, 77 from it. Might as well pick up 58. And there's the ideal draw Oh my goodness, this is an insanity here. Waiting 3-6 pin. Unfortunately, the 3-6 pin is not very live as Jen is holding 3 of the 6 pin. Cesar has 2 of the other tiles, and you've got 2 of the 3 pins in your own hand. But still, 1 left in the wall for the Tsumo. And do you pull in 1 pin if it comes out? You can shift to a 2-pin, 7-pin Shabo. You could also pull in and go 1-4, but the 1 pin's dead, so that's not a very good plan. You could cut 5-pin and wait 1-4, where you're only winning on the 4, with plans of shifting to Toy Toy later, but yeah, I think ultimately just sticking with this wait's probably the best. Still a big question where that last 3 is. Oh, and the 6 does leave the hand, and will deal in. There was no pin overflow, but the hand was indeed Tenpai, so 5,800 points plus Honba. And Kevin, I mean, this is exactly what you're looking for. You need a big first, and if you can keep rolling this dealership forward, certainly looking strong. This high pie is not looking strong. There is a door in hand, which always feels good, but the shapes are just so sad. Kanchan in the Mansu, Kanchan in the lower Pinzu. Disconnected pairs, and at this point, I'm actually thinking about Chitoi as a legitimate option for this hand. We'll see how Kevin chooses to play this, just playing standard cuts for now. To the right, Jen also with 2 good shapes, 2 Diamond shapes, and Diankan in the Pinzu, but a lot of these honors and terminals. That doesn't mean the hand is doomed, though. It just will take a few good draws. Dora would be ideal. 3-pin can also be accepted into Cesar's hand across the way, and this one looks like a very standard Ricci Pinfu. To the left, though, we see an open from William. Hatsu comes into hand and might be a Mon Honitsu play. We've seen nothing but Honitsu win so far, so perhaps that's just what everyone needs to go for. Notably, our dealer has paired up another tile, so now 2 away for Chitoi, but not committed to it just yet. 2-pin is a good draw for Jen, as that allows the door to be easily accepted into hand. Of course, William will just be waiting for Mon tiles. I think in this instance, he might choose to not force the Honitsu here. Especially if he draws a Dora. If that wasn't a Dora shape, I think he'd be more inclined to do so. It also depends on what tiles come into play, because we've already hit the end of row 1, and really hasn't seen much hand progression. 5-pin fills a shape, but it's a little bit awkward. You can still, of course, easily accept the Dora. 2 away from Tenpai for Jen. And I'll go up north. Oh, now we're Ishanten. Which cut do you make here? Of course, holding the 2-pin. Again, we want the Dora, and this is the easiest way to incorporate it. Drawing 3-pin here allows you to take a 3-sided Ricci with Dora. And I think with any Tenpai, Jen will probably... Oh, well, this maybe not this Tenpai. We'll see. It's just 8-pin Kanchan, Rishi Nomi. Yeah. So let me amend that. Any Tenpai that can incorporate the Dora will probably see a fight. Say, for example, the 4-pin or 7-pin gets drawn. I think we'll see a Ricci Kanchan on the 3-pin. William does end up not fighting for Honitsu here. Is now Ishanten with good floating pin shape. Kevin still seeking out pairs, hasn't found a connector in the wild. In fact, has just discarded the last 6 draws. Sumogiri bought at this point. Unfortunately, 2 of them were pairs. That's so sad. Oh, this is Tenpai, but this is not a Tenpai you want. I think I would take it, but William wants the Dora here. The 5-pin comes out, and you're feeling so much regret. But what else can you do but let that pass now? Yeah, I don't think you lose very much for dropping the 1 mon. Oh, there's the Dora draw. Here we go. So you can wait 2 mon where it feels like a very good wait because so many of these 3s are visible to you. You can see through the 4s.
롱,
And Jen was just holding on to that 2 mon as a save tile, but surprise, it actually deals into one of the very few shapes left that it could. And that will be William finally ending the dealer streak of Kevin. But Kevin picked up a ton of points, and it will be a Jen's turn. Nice high pie here. Already 2 away from Tenpai. I would love to get Tanya with this, and the West is kind of in the way of doing that. But you're dealer, so you'll take whatever you can get, especially if you can draw a Dora. To the right, Cesar. Okay shapes. There's a Dora in hand, which is always nice. If you pair it up, it's excellent. 7 mon, also a great draw. Might just be a Tanya here. Across the way, William. Oh, 2 great shapes. 2 completed shapes, I should say. And the ability to accept the Dora with the 3 so in hand. On the left, that looks like a Chanta. And now there's 2 Yakuhai pairs for Kevin. This could be a really exciting hand. Chanta, Yakuhai 2. You could even make Honitsu out of this. Because if you think about it, if you pull Hatsu and Chun, you'll be dropping a block anyway. 1-2 pin or 8-9 pin, perhaps. Or even the Mon shape. You could make a pin Honitsu. But instead just honing in on the Chanta here. We've seen cuts from both potential Honitsu suits already. And there's the Chun. Jen now Ishanten with a potentially very tricky Shaba weight. But you'll notice she's also given herself the chance to draw into Tanyao and Ipeko as well. Ooh, and this draw is kind of interesting. Now just takes the best Ishanten. Perfect Ishanten. Haku twice cut, so no need to worry to think about Shrill Sangan. That's a little bit greedy. Actually, I think Kevin could have discarded the 2 pin there. Had already committed to dropping that block. And you can just give yourself the chance at drawing that last Haku. It's a safe tile, safer than this 2 pin is even. So I think that was actually, would have been a slightly stronger play, in fact. Oh, wow. What a move by William here. Just opening up for confirmed Sanchoku can win on the 6 or 9. So, but Jen holding all the 6, so will declare the Ricci with a 2-sided weight. Diamond 3 mon, 6 mon here. Only 3 mon left in the wall, 2 of those. And Kevin as well is kind of desperate for a 3 mon. If he draws, it will be in Tenpai, in fact. 2 pin reveal to be safe. Of course, William just cleared that. And we'll see a chase from Cesar here. Ricci Nomi waiting on the 5 mon. There are 2 of those in the wall as well. So 2 versus 2. Oh, and terrible draw for Kevin. Pulling in the Dora. That's the last thing you wanted here. I don't think we're going to see a con. That's a safe talent. And Jen will find the Sumo. Good no con. No need to give extra value here to Jen. Will be just Ricci Sumo for 1,000 all. But Jen will also steal away the Ricci stick from Cesar and move into a positive 3rd place and retain the dealership. High pie, pretty good. We have Dora acceptance. We have potential Tanya. It is a little bit tricky with the 2-3 pin shape. And the early cuts will be pretty straightforward. Kevin here thinking a long time about this pull and chooses to take it. I wonder what the play here is. Is this a Honitsu perhaps just saying this hand is so bad that I need to either force Honitsu to happen or perhaps just scare the rest of the table off of their hand? And there is a possibility that this turns into Chanta as well if Kevin can find the last 1 mon, make another 1-2-3 shape. That is quite unlikely though. Let's see, to the right, Cesar can call the south. Has 2 of the Dora, so this is potentially 3 on hand. That is callable, and William across the way can call the Hatsu for Hatsu only. Of course, the Dora can be accepted into that hand as well. Jen not making a tremendous amount of progress here, really just shifting around the floaters. However, the 4-pin was a great pull-in, and if this 7-pin leaves the hand, I wonder if she would open for Tanya only. We are hitting the end of row 1, but of course it's the classical play to just stay closed and build the hand yourself. Cesar growing to a monster right now. South Anko drawn, Dora Anko drawn, and
Boom.
uncomfortably has a couple of awkward shapes left over, but with the Anko in hand, you can just open your hand for whatever you're missing. Jen does forego the call and is rewarded with a nice so draw. Ishanten for Tanyao Ipeko. William opened up, also 2 away over there. Kevin decides he doesn't want the 4 mon. It would have given an extra mon block. You could treat that as a 4-6 shape and a 7-9 shape after the call. It's almost scarier that he didn't call it to the rest of the table. Now lets it pass again and gets to the south draw. So now there's a pair in hand. Jen still Ishanten here. Got an unfortunate backfire after the 8-pin cut, drawing the 7 later, but still in a pretty good position. Cesar finds a pair, so now Ishanten just needs 7-pin and 7 so. Unfortunately, 7-pin is not very live, and this 8 pushing into the Honitsu, still not believing is Tenpai, and it wasn't. Still isn't. Ishanten now. Oh, actually, 7-8-9. I wonder if the 7-8-9 was slightly better. If you value the 9 mon as a floater over the 6, I think the 6 mon is just a better floater here. But Jen moving to Diankan in the Manzu. Manzu are tough to cut, and now we finally have mon overflow after 2 calls. So the table knows that this is Tenpai, but the hand can only win on the last 4 mon, and Jen is holding it. She's dealer though. We'll see if she chooses to fight. 8 mon's going to come out, so she has a path now. Oh, but the 3 mon draw, she might have to just cut, 5 so or even 6 so 7 so.
Each.
And in the meantime, Cesar finds Tenpai. He sees where all the Dora is, waiting on the last 7-pin. It's buried somewhere in the wall. So 1 4 mon versus 1 7-pin. William finds Tenpai. 1 pin's fairly safe here. Pulls the 4 so and waits on the 4 so. That's always quite funny. But also the 7 so will win, and there are 2 of those in the wall. So William with the best chance here. Tenpai for Jen, and 8 mon is safe. I think we'll see it come out. Waiting on the 5 mon, which is, well, price cut, and the other one's being held by Kevin here. So unlikely to win here, but can she hold on to Tenpai? Oh no, the 7 is Suji. That might just have to come out. It's fairly safe. Yeah, it just comes out and deals into the cheap hand at the table. Only 1,000 points. And that would be the amount that she'd pay for Ryukyoku payments if she folded as well. All of the tsumos were more valuable in addition. So really, that was totally ideal. I mean, not ideal in the sense that you dealt in, but in terms of not being able to win the hand, that was about as good as it could get. Well, that shifts us into East 3, Cesar's dealership. Shun is the door, and it's just instantly cut by William, who does not believe that anyone has it yet, and he's right. Oh, great fill for Cesar. Now 2 away from Tenpai with a lot of pairs, though. And I wonder if we'll see a shift to Chitoi later on. With that door cut on the right, William has okay shapes. Just needs to get rid of this 9 pin, 1-so, and the Shah, and that's a great fill. So now Dian Chan 10 would love to find a 4 pin if we're just filling those, as Blake would say. Oh, Blake's not at this table, but a different B3 table that played last night. Across the way, Kevin with Honitsu, it looks like. Seems to be his best hand. I think he's won 3 Honitsus and been working on another one as well. Could even be Chinitsu here because all those honor tiles are just floaters at the moment. Jen on the left, holding good floating pin tiles, has also a small chance at Itsu in the Sozu. All right. Chun, unfortunately for William, discarded again. But at least that means that it's very unlikely the Honitsu hand is going to be able to use it. So that's a plus. Now 3 pin can be called here. I wonder which way it will be called though. 3, 4, 5. So this way gives Kevin the more pawn opportunities. And even if you draw something like a 6 pin or a 5 pin, you're not even sad because that means that you can more easily transition into Shinitsu. Ishanten for dealer. Ishanten on the right with potentially Peiko. The scary hand that's open twice is not close at all. Still 2 away. There's a Dora draw. It is twice cut, but you could use it as a pair later. Would be Hellweight. And we do have Tenpai for Jen. Not going to take this Richi. 3 pin is not a very good weight when you know there's a Honitsu or Chinitsu in the Pinzu. And 2 of those tiles are visible already. We'll see how Jen plays this. Maybe if a 5 pin is drawn, she'll take her Richi Pinfu. But even there, you can even Dama and wait for Sanchoku upgrade. So not necessarily straightforward here. William will just fight this. Takes the Richi on the 1-so, 3-so. Only 1 left in the wall. It's the final 1-so. Jen might Mawashi a bit with like 1-mon, 1-mon. You don't really want to fight this Richi. You don't really have tiles to fight the Richi. And now we're going to see opponent Tenpai choosing the Shaba weight. Kind of sneaky because 9 pin was cheated earlier from William. It's safe. It's Genbutsu to the Richi. Oh no, this is DC. You can't win when you're DC'd. So we'll see how the players choose to handle this situation. Okay, he's back. He's back. Still 9 pin, 2 pin. Kind of live, and Jen will deal in. It is Richi Nomi currently. No Ura. So again, a very cheap deal in from Jen, but it prevents a monster from winning. And we go into East 4. William over 30,000 points as dealer has Hatsu and Adora. Great high pie, good floaters. I'm very happy if I open to this. To the right, Kevin may be less pleased with this high pie. That 6, 8, 8, 9 shape. We've mentioned it before. Always very sad to see. I imagine we'll see a 9-so leave eventually. When it becomes efficient to do so, could just turn into a Tanyao. Or Richi Nomi. Across the way, Jen needs the 7-mon twice. A lot of times when you're in that situation, you'll just cut 8, 9. However, in this situation, the 9 is the Dora. So we might hold on to it. I'm not sure if the 7-mon is more valuable, though, for the 7, 8, 9 shape or for the 5, 6, 7 shape, given that there's a potential 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku brewing. I guess the ideal situation would be to just draw more Dora. Use that as the pair or an Anko. On the left, we have Tanya, it looks like, for Cesar. 2 away from Tenpai. William did manage to grab the Hatsu call. I'm trying to find a way to make Sanshoku, or sorry, not Sanshoku, Chanta happen. You draw 2 pin and discard 5 pin, and then draw north. Okay, we'll see if that can happen. You do lose a little bit of efficiency dropping the 5 pin, but it might be worth it for the extra Han, moving you from 2 to 3. That's pretty significant, from 29 to 5,800. Could even Chi lets it pass and will be Tenpai now on 6-9 pin. No Sanchoku here. Sorry, no Chanta here. But that's okay. This is still perfectly valid. Jen Ishanten across the way with Tudora. Oh, with a third 6-pin drawn. That fits nicely into hand. Ishanten now for Kevin. Two 9-pins left in the wall somewhere. I'm trying to think if there's a slight upgrade in efficiency if you drop 3-pin there instead. The 9-7 is actually not as good as it looks. First of all, it's Fuditen, but you've already discarded. There's 2 9-so out, so only 1 tile. That's 7-so only has 3. So you have 4 tiles of acceptance versus the 2 from the 3-pin. Yeah, it probably was efficient to hold the 9 there. You don't lose that much by holding, or you don't gain that much by holding the 3-pin there. Of course, you'll never take the Fuditen way. You'll always discard the 9 mana unless it gives you Tenpai. I guess the 3-pin gives you Tanya potentially. Cesar still navigating this Ishanten. Same for Jen. A dealer's just wondering, where is my 6-9? Why haven't I seen it yet? Do I need to be scared of a Damaten hand? I only see one of the Dora. Khan?
Khan.
Oh, no Rinchan. Oh, Dora draw. Just has to come out at this point. Reveals the Tuso to be the Dora, which helps the hand to the right. That's the only one that uses one right now. Oh, and then Jen draws a Tuso, but might think it's safe. Yeah, it's safe enough. I think her Tuso came out after the Tenpai. Or, with nothing but Sumogiri. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. Yeah, I think it came out afterwards. But 6 will finally leave the hand and deal into Atsidora 1. Because of the Khan, we upgraded from 2,900 to 3,900. Nice little bonus. And that actually puts William into first place. Once again, opening up to pair of Hatsu, so callable hand. Lots of disconnected Mon tiles, but there's the backbone of an Itsu there. So tiles for Kevin. But these shapes kind of scream Riichi Nomi. Multiple pairs is a little unfortunate. Jen has the ability to call the tune. Of course, only 1 left in the wall. There's a door in hand. Might have a door Tanki in the future. Might even have Chanta here. Yeah, if you pair up the door, you can cut 5-pin, 8-pin, 8-mon, 8-mon, and work your way towards Chanta. And even if you don't pair up the door, you could just move that direction and aim for door Tanki for Mongon. Cesar on the left with a standard Riichi hand. Potential Tanyao. Oh, never mind. Looks like it's just going to be Riichi Nobi. William is moving in the direction of Monhonitsu, but not confirmed by any means. Still seeking good draws. Well, that's a good draw for Kevin. Ultimately, you're probably going to have to make a decision about which pair to cut. Because you have 3, that's at least 1 too many. The 4-so still is a little bit useful here, because if you draw a 5-so, you can move towards Ipeko. And if you draw 8-pin, then you have 4 pairs to Chitoi. Again, not really where you want to go here.
リーチ
Oh wow, that's a good draw. So not just Richi Nomi, Richi Ipeko. William has Nakasuji 5-pin. We'll go with that first. And we'll see if he attempts to take a Tenpai or go all the way for Honitsu. Against a Richi, sometimes there's incentive to just take your Tenpai and just prevent that hand from winning. Doesn't like this 8-so, and maybe for that reason goes 1-pin, 1-pin. Maybe just greeting the Honitsu. Jen, that 3-mon does not look good, and also has this Dora that hasn't been connected to at all. It hasn't seen it yet. Well, now it comes out, but maybe a little bit too late. Kevin did end up drawing the 5-so, but also another 4-so, and this hand is rapidly changing shape. And now another 4-pin. I have no idea where this is going, but it's Ishanten. If 4-pin comes out here, you might even pull in for K10. There are still 22 draws left. But the closer and closer we get to New Kyoku, the more and more likely Kevin is to open here. 6-pins, a little rough. Still Ishanten. Looks like William's just backing out here. It is really difficult to progress in this hand. Nine pin at least is once cut, and it's also Suji to the early 6. But it's not uncommon for a player with a 6, 8, 9, 9 shape to drop the 6 for the 8, 9, 9 shape, and then drop the 8 for the Shabo. Jen does manage to work back into Tenpai and takes the Richi, choosing to fight here. Does deal into the Richi Peiko for 2,600. All these deal-ins, we've seen, I think, 3 from Jen, but they've all been very inexpensive. And basically always when she is Tenpai. Kevin, dealer, South 1, has a little bit of a rough hand here. Multiple pairs. I think you might end up just dropping this Penchon shape eventually and trying to make Tanyao out of this. To the right, Jin with 2 Dora. Lots of floating honor tiles. Not a super high, but it's hard to complain when you've got 2 Dora. Across the way, Cesar gets a nice fill here. Again, a lot of floating honor tiles to work around before this progresses into a normal hand. And on the left, William, maybe the best looking high pie, but it's also not very good. So this is going to be one of those hands that you kind of expect to build slowly. Although I guess when your hand is really bad, almost any draw is going to be better than what you have. So maybe it starts out progressing quickly, but unless you get perfect draws, it's likely that your weak shapes will end up being retained till the end, and then you can get stuck in Ishanten or Gyanshanten. That's a nice fill. And we are moving in the direction of Tanyao. At this point, if I'm Kevin, I'm probably going to open up on a 6-pin if I can. Because the 5-so floater is very good, and we're already in the middle of the second row. I mean, looking around at the rest of the table, it looks like the other players are also kind of struggling with their own hands. No one's signaling that they're Ishanten or anywhere close to Tenpai. So I don't feel so bad to open up here. Well, that's a good draw. Okay, Kevin might have a chance now for that Tanyao without needing to sacrifice a whole block. Who's thinking about Poln? William. 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. It's probably difficult to make toy toy with those shapes, and so I think I agree with the pass here. Big question is, can the player with the Dora end up winning the hand? Cesar already discarded his. Jen still working around with these awkward shapes. There is a 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku available that you could even open for 3 Han. Oh, that's another good draw for William. His hand is starting to come together now. We'll see if the 1-pin leaves for Tanyao. I know just 3 so holding all of the blocks. Anticipating winning on a 1-4. I guess if you drop the Pinzu, you're just losing an entire block, so not really the best move. Upgrade to Diancon though, so Diancon, Diamen, Ishanten for William. Seven so looks pretty, but it doesn't really help this hand. Oh, it does hold on to it. Oh, I see. This is greedy from Kevin. Aiming for 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku of his own. But does drop you back a Shanten. Will this come back to bite? There aren't many draws left. And no one's making progress here. Oh, Cesar picking up a good tile though. Ishanten now. 3-pin is not good here. Oh, Cesar's calls off. Could have pulled it to Tenpai. Oh, draws it into Tenpai. Okay. Dama, though. No Ricci here. Waiting 3-6. It will be William who does take the Ricci. And deal in. Trying to set up the Suji trap, but little did he know there was a Dama across the way. It's only going to be 1300 for the Dama Tanyao. But that does send us into South 2. Jen now. Final dealer turn. 25-9. Currently in 3rd place. We'll need to win a hand or 2 to make it over 30k. High Pi is not the strongest, but there is Itsu in the Pinzu. You can bail yourself out that way. Also Dora 8-mon in hand. So some an opportunity for value there. To the right, Cesar. Very good shapes. Ishanten already. 2 completed sets. The 7-9 pin is a little awkward. 5-so is a great draw. Now you can treat that so shape as a 5-6 Diamond, and a 7-8 Diamond. Can work you away from this 7-9 Hanchan shape. Across the way, William. Just all around classic Ricci Pinfu hand. Yeah, with a Dora. So very, very good. There's a world where you end up with 2, 3, 4 Sanchoku. But in most scenarios, you just take your perfect Ishanten, and this is one of those. Would need to find a pair elsewhere to make that a reality, and here we go. Ricci Pinfu Tanya, sorry, not Tanya, Ricci Pinfu Dora. 3-6 so is the weight. Jen might fight here. Has a Dora shape, and not a lot of info to work with. Ishanten for Jen. So 9-pin, playing maximum efficiency as well. Can draw into Tenpai on 1-mon, 3-pin, or 2-pin. Well, now the 1-pin leaves the hand, so values the floating 6-so here. Ooh, Sanchoku chance. And now you can draw, you can even open this hand. 1-mon, 3-pin, 4-pin, all will work here. Of course, the 7-mon, but that's a given. The other player is also managing to kind of work around this Ricci. Cesar still maintaining Ishanten. Kevin holding the 1-4 Suji.
롱.
At 3, so we'll leave Cesar's hand and deal into the pin food, shutting down Jen's final dealership. Oh, Uda, big hit. And William, now over 45,000 points, in command moving into South 3. Cesar, our dealer now with the tuned pair. And reasonable shapes, especially because you can open and fix some of the weaker ones like that. So lower so shape. Just needs to get rid of some of these honor tiles. To the right, William, not looking super strong here, but look, he did enough in the last round. Doesn't need to win all of the hands. Across the way, Kevin has the other pair of tunes. So Mochi Mochi with Cesar here. It might be a bad sign for their odds of winning. The shapes outside of that are pretty good though, so Kevin might be able to take a Ricci using the tune as a pair. And on the left, Jen has Door Acceptance, good Mon, Zu, Diamen, and a completed shape in the Sozu. Not so bad here. Really needs to draw the Dora though, and all of the Dora are actually in the wall. Big question is, will either Kevin across the table or Cesar, our current dealer, open up and take an Otozuke attempt? Otozuke on the tune, because that would really shut down their hand. Oh, 7 Sosa, super nice fill. Kevin does give up on the Itsu with the 1 so cut. Perhaps hoping that after the tune call, he can eventually end up on a 3-6-9 so wait for tune only. If he knew that the tune was being held, probably would have discarded the 9 so there instead and held that option for Itsu open. Here's our first Dora, and Cesar will hang on to it for now. Certainly fits into the hand if you read that as a 4-5 Dianmen shape and a 6-8 Kanchan. Oh, tune given up on, but Cesar lets it pass. And we've seen Cesar playing pretty closed throughout the series, taking a lot of Ricci's. Of course, that's typically where the value is. But once the second tune leaves the hand, we might be forced to open here. Oh no, lets it pass. All right. Going to play closed until the end. And maybe rewarded with this excellent 5 so draw. Now you've got a Diamond shape in the Sozu. To the right, this is Dianjanten. Across the way, that is Ishanten with super wide shapes. Unfortunately, no Dora. And we've hit the middle of row 2. We've only seen 1. Jen has locked in on that Dora shape though. 799, just dropping the 9 pin, saying this hand is going to use Dora or it's not completing. And there it is. There's the Dora draw. We'll take the Ricci two-sided wait. 3-6 Mon for Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 1, potentially Ipeiko. And it's going to have to be Ipeiko most likely because that last 3 Mon is locked away in Kevin's hand. 6 Mon has 1 left in the wall to draw though. Cesar just pushes the Dora against this Ricci. This is Ishanten for Cesar. I might have even tried 4 pin there and gone for a Chitoi Dora 2. Yes, it's going to be hard to complete this hand in any other way. The other shapes are so disconnected. We'll also see if William is able to push for this on the right. Needs to pass a couple so tiles though. Believes the pin are safe, and it is right. For Kevin, the 5 pin has become Nakasuji at this point, so there's a chance that he might be able to fight. 6 draws remain. 1-6 Mon in the wall. Cesar passes. Now back to Ishanten for Chitoi. William misses. Kevin does not draw it either. Okay, here we go. Final draw will go to William. This is Tenpai for Cesar, by the way. 4 pin can come out cleanly. And William, does he want to draw Haite? Yes. This is not Tenpai. Finds the safe 5 so. And that does mean we will see a dealer repeat. Cesar picking up 1,500. Jen taking a net gain of 500, leaving a Ricci stick in the middle. For South 3, Chun. Again, William does not like the Chun door. This is the second time in this game that he's discarded it on the first go-around. Now, we saw in the last time that he managed to, would have paired it up 2 turns later. We'll see if that holds true this time. Of course, in that situation, the Chun was, the other 3 Chun were all on the wall, so it was somewhat likely that would happen. Cesar, though, our dealer, not a bad high pie. It has all the blocks it needs to win. They're just not all very good ones, but certainly some flexibility here and the ability to accept a lot of good draws. William to the right, planning on making just a Ricci Nomi probably. And across the way, there's the Dora pair up by Kevin. The Chun already passed once, so other players might be willing to just throw it out again, but it will not pass a second time. And the shapes are quite good as well for Kevin. I don't think he's planning to go Otozuke here, but there's a chance that he just starts to call away some of these Kanchan shapes. And for Jen on the left, this is just 2 away from Tenpai here. Bad shapes, not a lot of value though. Six is interesting because you can think of it as a diamond shape, 5-6. At the same time, you almost just want to drop this 9 so and go for 6-7-8 Sanchoku and Tanyo as well. So we'll see how she chooses to play this. Of course, the 1-mon was likely to leave that hand anyway. It holds a lot of options open here. Cesar here, 2 away from Tenpai. Would probably be Ricci Nomi though. It looks like that choice is made by these draws. 5-6-7 Sanchoku now, the route, and that means you don't have to give up your diap in shape by dropping the 9. You still might do so if you end up getting Tanyao and believe the Sanchoku isn't going to happen. For example, drawing a 4-pin or 8-mon would maybe move you in that direction. Oh, there's the door, though. William drops it a second time. Just like last time, did pair it up, but this time it gets pulled by Kevin. And this is Tenpai on the 3-mon. There are 3 left in the wall. This is so good for a Kanchan. Oh, upgrades now even to 3-6. So as an additional draw, 4 tiles in the wall for this weight.
Each.
We're going to see a Ricci, Cesar chasing. And 6-mon is drawn, but that's not safe against the Ricci. It's actually dangerous against Kevin, though. And Kevin, with his Mongon, I think, will fight the dealer Ricci. You know there's no Dora in that hand. Only Ura Dora possible. William's hand just lighting up with deal-in tiles. Jen working towards Tanyao Pinfu Peiko. Just needs to draw 5 or 8-mon for Tenpai there. Nine, so you can probably afford to pass here. It will just be a question to see if she fights with a 3-mon. And now 3 so. 3 so is 1 chance now, so I think she might just push it if she gets Tenpai. Certainly enough value in that hand, and here we go. Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyawi, Peiko chance. 8-mon would be a deal-in if Kujira drops it. Kevin, this is so scary, but yeah, lets it go. Chooses, decides that the 6 is too dangerous to fight. And maybe for that reason is saved from discarding this 5-mon. Can't she into Tenpai though? Oh, draws another 5. You can push the Nakasuji 6 now. It's Nakasuji to the dealer Ricci, but instead lets it go and it's a Sumo from Jen. Ricci, Sumo, Tanyao, Pinfu. And no Ura, but that's enough to push her over 30,000, collecting the Ricci sticks that were in the middle of the table. And almost taking second place, moving into South 4, all last. Currently a positive score for William, Kevin, and Jen. And we'll see who can claim the first place spot. First place not safe for William here. Any Mangan Sumo from Jen. We'll move her to first. Okay, let me confirm that. Yeah, it is a 9,000 difference. And not even a Mangan Sumo necessary for Kevin here because William is the dealer. So not a secure lead right at all. Tenpai is okay. Well, so many Kanchan shapes though. And William's certainly looking for improvements here. How can Kevin fight in this hand? Maybe you just go Tanyao and build vertically, perhaps. 3, 4, 5 Sanchoku. Oh, it just doesn't matter. Jen gets an early Riichi, and Hatsu's going to come out immediately. Surprise. Who would have thought that Hatsu deals in here? Riichi pots Hatsu. Ura as well for the Mangan. That's not going to be enough to take first place, but Jen certainly pleased to pick up an extra 8,000 at the end of the game. And we'll finish with a very good second place, plus 16.9. William grabs the first place away, plus 27.9. And Kevin, a positive third. Not the result he was looking for, given the way the game started, but there were just some monster hands from around the table. Cesar will take the negative 50.8, and it is going to update our standings to 21. Jen moves into one of the confirmed promotion slots with 3 games to play. William climbing and moving closer and closer to a positive spot for a possible promotion using one of the extended promo slots. All right, I will have to take a close look at the time here because unfortunately I'm not able to cast for much longer. I do want to take a look at any other games that may have been played. It looks like there was an A2 match that finished. Simon, Sylvie, Kaz, and Tucker. Simon pulling together the big first place is in the promotion zone in A2. Sylvie grabbed the second place as a substitute player. And that was the only other game that was going on, or that completed in the meantime. But there will be lots more action tonight. Unfortunately, I think this is going to do it for me. I have to prepare to travel a little bit, so I am unfortunately going to need to call it for the evening. We saw some pretty exciting matches though, and I cannot wait to come back home at 3 in the morning and see all the results from the course of the evening and see where the standings are after 10 Hanchan get played. Of course, we will be back on Wednesday for our regular broadcast. Make sure to follow us on Twitch to know when we will go live. Not confirmed yet if there are any additional matches, but I do believe the first one will be starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 6 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Of course, it is now too late to register for the summer session, but you can follow the league and register for the fall session on our website, americanriichi.org, and check out our YouTube videos. Every single broadcast from the past year and, well, basically year and a half at this point, all on our YouTube channel, tinygirl.com/ARMLYT. Not only this season's Session 6 action, but the wild, crazy things that have happened in previous years are all available there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and for correcting me when I make mistakes. Oh, Blake, you're about to start? What a shame. Well, good luck in your matches. And hopefully, I know you're secure for promotion, so I'll just preemptively congratulate you on that. And for everybody else, good luck in your matches. Hopefully, all goes well there. See you all on Wednesday for our regular broadcast. Have a good one, everybody.